Flamingo Road, 9:30 Tuesday.
'Cause when you're looking at Channel 10 in Melbourne, you're looking good.
You've given your heart to get here and your soul to get it right. You can take 'em boots and all, but it's sure gonna take a fight. When you spend all week, you're gonna have your say. You bet. On Sunday, it's the VFA. It's Sunday, you're gonna make your fight for the VFA. Today you're gonna fight. It's Sunday for the VFA. It's Sunday, yes Sunday. It's Sunday for the VFA. It's Sunday, yes Sunday. It's Sunday for the VFA.
Sunday is the VFA.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the preliminary final in VFA for 1981 and the big match today between Preston and Sandringham, and one we're certainly looking forward to. One that a lot of VFA supporters will possibly be hoping that Sandringham wins because of the poor performance of Preston against Port Melbourne in the last few weeks. However, at this stage, let's introduce our co-commentators, and in doing that, ask the question to Bill Jacobs, first of all. Your selection, what do you think about the game, Bill?
I think Sandringham will win this game. Early in the season, conjecture said that Port Melbourne and Sandringham were the two teams that would play off in the VFA Grand Final, and that early conjecture, I think, will prove to be right after the conclusion of the game this afternoon. I felt that Sandringham came back to something like their true form when they defeated Frankston in the first semi-final, after a period when Sandringham had been in limbo due to, as we've reported to us, internal squabbles, but we can't say that with any definition at all. But that was the report, and Sandringham had played for a fair proportion of the season like that. However, they came back to form, particularly in the second half. Preston's performance last week against Port Melbourne was deplorable, and they can only do better than that. But I think Preston have panicked a little bit at the selection table, and in finals matches you go for your best players, generally speaking, and all things considered, and I think they should have played Cooper. But be that as it may, I don't think Preston are a finals team. That may be a harsh judgment and a harsh assessment, but I don't think they are. I think Sandringham are a finals team. They have the tough, battle-hardened Warriors to take them through, and I believe they'll defeat Preston this afternoon and go into the VFA Grand Final.
And obviously, Ted Henrys, you'll disagree with that.
Well, I'm disagreeing. I agree with probably a lot of the logic put forward by Bill, and it seems fairly logic when you look at the performance of the two teams today over the year. They've had one win each against each other. Now, Sandringham's performance against Frankston wasn't all that great, Phil, when you remember that Frankston led them by 25 points at half-time, and Sandringham were able to come home, and particularly in that final quarter, to take the game away from them. I didn't think that was a great performance, but anyway, Sandringham won it. Last week's game, as Bill said, was a deplorable effort on the part of Preston, and I don't think they could put in such a bad one again. They can only play better. I believe that the couple of changes they've made, they've brought in two very quick players, is something I need, and I am going for Preston, Phil. I think that they have been a better side than Sandringham all of the year, and I think that will show out today.
Well, they're about to come out the race. Their banners are going up down in front of us at the moment. It looks great as the Preston side now moving out onto the ground, and they're led by their captain in Peter Marshall. There they go, and they're hoping to do a lot better today than they did against Port Melbourne of last week. Ian, let's look at the statistics of today's game.
Well, so far this season, on a standard one game each, in round 6, the first round in which these two teams played, it was played at Preston, and Sandringham had a 20-point victory. Preston 15 goals, 12, 102. Sandringham 18, 14, 122. In round 15 in the second round, played at Sandringham, Preston had a great win, a 72-point victory over Sandringham. Sandringham 11 goals, 14, 80. Preston 23, 14, 152. Another interesting statistic today, Carla Van, Preston's half-forwarder, has kicked 47 goals. Let's wish him luck to kick his 50. He's only got 3 to go. Carla Van for Preston. My selection, Sandringham.
Well, earlier, Rob Asprey was down in the dressing rooms of Preston, or outside the rooms, and he had this to say with Harold May.
Thanks very much, Phil, and good afternoon to our viewers at home. I know we're all looking forward to a magnificent day today, and certainly a magnificent game. Hopefully a better game than last week, which I guess Harold, Preston would want to erase from their memory completely.
Yes, that's correct, Rob. We're not looking at last week's game at all. We're looking to today, and we've beaten Sandringham the last time we've played them on their own ground and beat them well. Finals are always different, and But we know that we have to win today to go into a grand final and get another go at Port. So
It's always a pretty fiery encounter between Preston and Sandringham. Do you expect that to happen today?
well, we'll be playing the ball. We always play the ball, and I think that's where courage stands out. Sandringham, they're a hard side, but we played the ball down at Sandringham, and I think they played us, the man, a little bit too much, and I hope they do the same thing today, because if you win the game, those knocks, they don't matter at all.
I've got to ask you just briefly about last week. What have you done to improve on last week's very poor performance?
Well, we've looked closely at our forward line, our half-forward line in particular. Apart from Darryl McGaw, he played in patches last week, but we've included Ian Bowden and young McDonald on the half-forward flank, Wayne McDonald, and we've got a player playing out in the reserves now, Brett Cooper, is a top player, and it's a shame that he's out there, but his form's been down a little bit. We're missing Russell Jessup and Arthur Cann, who were out injured. We've also included Peter Bartlett on a half-back flank and released Graham Bucks as a ruck rover.
You seem pretty confident.
Well, last week you said the same thing to me, but I'll feel a lot more confident after the game if we've won.
All right, Harold. All the very best for today's game. I know you've got the players inside now. We're changing it a little bit today in that we're not taking the cameras into the rooms just to give the players of both sides that little bit of an extra chance.
Yeah, we appreciate that too, Rob. Thanks a lot.
Harold. All the very best.
Thank you.
And that's the latest, I was going to say, from the Preston rooms, but we're not in the Preston rooms, but that's the latest from the Preston team's point of view.
All right, and back here we have our field umpires for today. Maury Stabb, who's been 11 years with the VFA and running in his 150th game today, and Barry Fitzpatrick, 13 years with the VFA. The boundary umpires, Mike Stocks, 16 years, and Joe Santa Isabel, 5. The goal umpires, Jeff Griffith, 13 years, and Andy Craig, 20. The emergency field umpire is Keith Ogston, 6 years with the VFA, and the boundary is Neil Bartholds, 3 years, and goal umpire Mark McCarthy, 3. Umpires board representatives Alex Shaw and Howard Taylor. We're still waiting on Hogan's Heroes to make their appearance on the ground. First of all, I think we'll take this break.
I like it, but I want a guarantee that means something.
King Billy won't let you down.
King Billy stands behind every colour TV and video recorder he sells. If anything goes wrong, he guarantees to put it right.
Well, it's a beautiful picture, but is it a good price?
King Billy won't let you down.
Billy Guides gives you Melbourne's lowest prices. This Toshiba video recorder is down to $885. Save $100. This new release Sharp remote control video recorder is less than $11 a week. And this Toshiba Colour TV is only $478 with a 3-year total warranty.
King Billy won't let you down on price and service in this town. And with some help from all the King's men, King Billy keeps you coming back again. King Billy won't let you down.
Chainsaw, sir. Yes, we've got one here for you.
Is it green?
No, sorry, only red or yellow.
Oh, no, it's got to be green.
Why green?
Because it's America's biggest seller, isn't it?
Oh, really? Well, if you can just tell me the name.
Poland! That's the one. Have you got one? Have you got one?
No.
Ah. Thank you.
We've taken the strength of steel and given it the shape of the future. With a new sculptured profile, it's stronger, yet easier to use. Year in, year out, it endures the elements. It works better and looks better. And instead of paint, it's bonded with silicon-modified polyester in a range of long-lasting color bond colors. The new square line B&D roller door. The door for the 80s and beyond.
Dead, I'm afraid. And so young. your battery gives up the ghost, it can come as quite a shock. If only you'd given it a checkup with the Dynapack doctor at a Dunlop, Olympic or Bow Repair tyre service. He'll test and service it free. And if it's beyond help, he'll replace it with a strong, healthy Dynapack battery. Dynapack. It leaves other batteries for dead.
And now back here at the ground we have Sandringham making their appearance on the ground in their 17th final series since joining the VFA in 1929. The Zebras have won 2 premierships, the first in 1946 and the other in 1962. And now, earlier, Rob Asprey recorded this interview with Peter Hogan.
Well, Peter, what's the frame of mind of the players today?
Excellent. Couldn't be better.
Been good during the week?
Fantastic.
Yeah, yes. I heard that it had been an excellent week for training for Sandringham.
Very, very good indeed, yes.
Right. The word is that you're the only side that can knock off Port Melbourne. They say Preston won't be able to do it.
Well, there's 3 sides in it still. And whoever's good enough to win today will get through and fight to live another day.
And not only the team, but coaches.
That's true. Very much so, yes.
Yeah. Any last-minute changes to your side?
No last-minute changes. The side will go out as is. The interchange, we'll be discussing that before the game.
Right.
With the selectors.
And no injury worries or problems during the week?
No injury worries at all.
No
We're very
suspect
fortunate.
Players?
No suspect players. We can't afford to play them. We saw Greg Way out there. You know, we'd like to see Greg Way in the side, but he's got a couple of sore spots and he has to prove his fitness out there if he's good enough for next week.
Right, well, as I explained to you before we went to air, this is a short interview because we start at 2 o'clock today.
Right.
So, but if you really want to have something to say, we'll give you the chance after the game, if you win.
Well, I'll see you after the game.
All right. Well, Peter, thank you very much. In all seriousness, if we don't see you again this year, I'd like to thank you for your cooperation during the year. It's been a great pleasure to work with you and to work with your club. They're a great club, and I would like to wish you all the very best today.
I know you mean that. Thank you very much indeed.
Good on you, Peter.
Thanks.
OK, well, we better move away because the players will be coming from the room next door across here to pick up their jumpers, getting very close to the big game now, and that's the latest from the the Sandringham rooms.
Right with it, Rob. But I might add, Rob's up here with us. That was a recorded interview, obviously, but I would like to say this to the Peter Hogan supporters and the the Sandringham Newbrick team, that as Peter Hogan has not made any comment about yours truly, and there's a player dropped on the ground out here. Look at this.
Marling went down. No, Marling was on the ground, wasn't he?
Yeah, but this is before they start. Umpires down there very quickly. One player was standing there and the other went whack. Down he went, and then they had a bit of a wrestle.
This is going to be a great game, Phil.
I'll say it will be, so it'll be worth watching all through. But I was about to say that as Peter Hogan has made no comment to the Peter Hogan supporters, likewise, I'll make no comment today.
Right, Phil, and following that, what's your selection for today?
Sandringham.
I'll go for Sandringham too.
Right, Rob, because well, you went for Preston last week, so I suppose you've got to go with the winners this week.
Well, you're starting early today, Phil.
But Sandringham, I think that Preston were demoralised last week against Port Melbourne, and it'll take a lot to get over them. And here comes umpire Murray Stab with a bounce, and look at it go up there as it's knocked out. Comes out to Pledger. Pledger bangs it up towards centre half forward. Coming in from behind was Mailing. He failed to take it. A hand pass here across from Bucks. Bucks gets it into the hands of Warren. Warren of Preston out towards the wing on the outer side, and Carla Van goes up to pull in the mark. No, he didn't take it. He flew into it as though he was going to take a safe one, and the umpire is forced to come in for a ball up. Now we had Preston, who lost the toss, kicking to the left of the screen to the lake end. There's been a free kick awarded out here, and it comes across towards Peter Marshall. Marshall now has the bounce come back to him nicely. Goes for a wild hand pass there. It's intercepted, and the umpire says holding the ball, and the free kick will be taken by Marks of Preston. And look, here's it's on again. I'll tell you what, they're right into it here, and you want to stay with us today. Look at this. The Bull Ants showing a bit of bite down here today. And they're still having a go, pushing and shoving, Pledger and Bucks into it there. We've got the goal umpires up there again, interfering in what I feel two field umpires can control.
Well, the two field umpires are there, Phil, and I think it's a good thing. It's proven very good this year, in my opinion. The two field umpires, particularly a lot of behind the play stuff that they can stop, and I think that helped them to sight that one early.
Well, look at this, nearly choked him.
That's Marshall underneath, I think.
Yep. And of course, the vice captain in the reserves was knocked out earlier too, and there's the kick from Marks, and he's put it through for full points. A good kick by Marks from out near centre half forward, and that gives Preston the first score of the match. 1.5 minutes after the commencement of play. Now, within the reserves game today, we had Preston defeat Sandringham. Preston 23-17, Sandringham 19-9. And Cooper was the player knocked out for Preston in that reserves game, which was a pretty lively affair. Well, it's bounced right away from Hurd, and it's knocked wide. Here's the chance for Mercer. He gets it out wide to Pledger. Pledger being tackled, pulled down to the ground, and the free kick will be awarded against Pledger. Pledger and Bucks pushing one another again. Back to Bucks it comes, and Bucks now will put it down to the forward zone. Players moving in under the ball. Up goes Van. Look at the punch away from Van. There's Marks, got a bit of toe in him, but it bounces back in the direction of Osborne. He couldn't gain possession, but well played by Marks. He shoots it across towards centre forward. Carla Van moves in. Can he turn quickly enough? He's having trouble. Got rid of it, but the umpire was blowing the whistle. A free kick against him. Too slow. And this will be Saru to put it away towards the stand wing, with the mark being taken here by Bartlett of Preston. So Bartlett from the wing. And gee, they're not giving any quarter to these players. If Preston had played like this last week, it might have been a little bit different. Bucks is in the van, put down to the ground by Adams, but Bucks gets the ball up towards the half-forward line, and it's McEwen who came into it, gets it across here towards Bryan. Bryan goes down to ground, but pass here to Bulger, back to Bartlett. Now Bartlett puts the boot into it, but he's bowled. One of the players is bowled over. It's the Sandy player on the ground. It's against Mercer. He ended up on the ground, but he tackled Bartlett, and the free kick will go further afield to be taken by Hallis, the full forward of Preston. A lot more bite on the Preston side this week, Ted.
Well, it certainly is, Phil. I think they watched the replay of that match last week.
Right, now it was offline.
Waiting.
He might give him another kick. The player came over the mark, I think.
15-metre penalty there, Phil, because he ran over the mark. If it had been a goal, naturally, it would have been allowed to stand.
Well, I suppose you could say, Ted, with a 15-metre penalty, it's not to the advantage of the side.
It's just narrowing the angle.
Narrows the angle. Ian?
Preston have had a total of 14 possessions, Sandringham 3.
I'm just saying, Phil, that they had a replay of that match last week and at the Preston Rooms, and Harold pointed out their mistakes there.
Right, and there's the ball on its way, and behind is the result. Preston go on to 1-1, and Sandringham have 1 point on the board. That can't be right. We've got the right score up one end. Sandringham have not scored, obviously. They've given it behind to Sandringham instead of to Preston. That's what's happened. Here's Bucks with the ball now on the half-forward line. Bucks up towards the right-forward pocket. The bounce beats players, and it comes wide now out in the direction of Hodges. Hodges in the van in front of his opponent in Hallis. And eventually he's put it over the line on the full, and the free kick will be taken out here by Bryan. Bryan of Preston on the right half-forward flank. Strong start by Preston in the first 5 minutes, Bill.
Yes, it certainly is. To score 1-1, and Sandringham have yet to score on the Olympic Tyres scoreboard at the 6-minute mark into the term, and one could say it was a stupid start apart from a strong start. It's Hallis in possession now. Hallis in the forward pocket, kicking to the left of your screen, which represents the lake end or city end of the ground. And he's guided this one on its way, and it's a chance for 1 point. 6 minutes into the term. Preston 1-2. Preston 1-2-8, and Sandringham yet to score. It's a lively opening, and I don't know that it did either of them much good. They tested their muscles and flexed their muscles, but nothing much came out of it.
Well, don't you think it's done Preston a bit of good? They 1-2, and Sandringham haven't scored, Bill. There's got to be something in it.
Well, that's the name of the game at the start. 1-2 to nothing. It's picked up by Pledger from the kick-in, and Pledger gets it around towards centre wing. He was looking for Gilmore, but Wilkins, best player for Sandringham in the semi-final, comes in to take the mark. Wilkins is on the half-back flank. Up to Callery with handball. Callery drops it in, but Hurd will be in the way on the half-back line. Hurd of Preston, reputed to be playing his last season, but we'll discuss that at later length. Good mark up there, and it was taken by McLeod. McLeod at centre-half forward. McLeod at centre-half forward, former St Kilda player, kicking long up towards a full forward spot. Hunt trying to get into it there, failed to do so, and Town will bring it away for Preston, going through the half-back line, kicking up towards the centre of the ground, and Hodges has got the set, and Hodges will mark in the centre position for Sandringham. Across to several players there, and taking the mark was Kelly. Kelly at centre-half forward for Sandringham at the 7-minute mark. Getting it into attack up there, looking for Hunt. Sitting back is Hurd. Hurd nullifies the efforts of the Sandringham full forward. Down to the ground, a snap by Gilmore. It's a goal.
Instant TV.